Hello, and welcome to week 67, book 67. This is not a repeat. This is a new book. This is On the Calculation of Volume 2 by Solvej Balle. And as you recall, we left Terra Salter in the first book after having gone through an entire year of being stuck in November 18th. And here she's stuck there as well. Now, in the first book, if you recall, she knew that sometimes things stayed with her, sometimes things didn't. And so things that she wanted to stay with her, remember, she would stick under her pillow or next to her, and then they would tend to stay. And that's what she starts to do with things that she wants to hold on to. But she also noticed as a problem, which is at grocery stores when she goes in and buys something, and she goes the next day, there are less of them. So let's say you have an entire mound of oranges, right, in the produce section. If she goes and gets an orange every day, over time, that grocery store will no longer have any oranges. And so in this way, she depletes all of her favorite chocolate and that kind of thing from grocery stores and then realizes it's not being replenished. And so she thinks of herself as a parasite, as a demon, as something that is destructive on reality. And conversely, remember, she did some of these days with her husband, and her husband, whatever her husband ate, did not do this. And so it was a weird phenomenon. He could take an orange, the orange would return. She took an orange, the orange wouldn't. So it's just she didn't know what to make of this, but she did know one thing, is now that she's stuck in this and she can't get out, she's going to have to move on. And that's exactly what she does. She leaves her husband's house, she leaves Paris, she leaves that area, and she goes to visit her own parents. And our own parents have a Christmas tradition where on Christmas Eve they cook all other fancy stuff and exchange presents and that sort of thing. And on Christmas Day they eat the leftovers. And so that's what she arranges. She arranges a Christmas Eve with them. She tells them what's going on, and they buy it, they believe it, they're with her, they're okay. And they have their Christmas Eve. She gives them presents, which they love, and then they all go to bed. And then she goes and she gets all the food, all the leftovers, and she brings it and puts it in her bed with her so that it will stay until the next day. And that's exactly what it does. It stays the next day. They all wake up. None of them remember anything, but they see the proof of the leftovers that they don't remember eating the originals of, and they all eat and they have their Christmas Day, and then she leaves. She doesn't bother to re-buy them presents or anything like that. She knows they're going to forget. Now, at first, she's going to take her younger sister with her, but then she decides not to. She decides it'd be unfair to do that to another human being. So she goes off, and what she's doing is she's looking for seasons. She's decided that if she's stuck here, she's going to have to normalize her life as well as she can, and she wants seasons. So she's gone to see her parents and had her Christmas, and now she's going to go further north and have her deep winter, and then she's going to go to the south, and all these kinds of things. And one of the things happens when she's in the north is she almost dies. She almost gets in a car wreck and dies. And it's interesting what would have happened had she died in Solvej Balle's exploration of this. Honestly, I don't know. Now we do know, like with Groundhog Day, Bill Murray, died many times and just came back the same day. It's not clear what would happen here because remember, some things stay and some things don't. When she burns her hand in the first book, it stays. At this book, she also at one point trips, and so she has a sprained ankle for several days, which becomes a huge problem because then she has to go to a doctor. But she's got to go to a doctor the same day, and she's got to get whatever meds she's going to have the same day because if she schedules it for the 19th, it'll never happen, and the doctor won't remember her coming to visit. So she does get that taken care of, but it teaches her that she needs to be very careful in what she does. And also, she doesn't know what happened if in that car wreck, if the passenger of the car with her, actually the driver of the car, the taxi, if the driver had died, would the driver have stayed dead? What would have happened there? And at this point, we don't find out about that. Remember, this is the second of 7. And this is, unfortunately, the last of these at the moment. I did look for the third one at Barnes & Noble, but it doesn't seem to be available yet. I think it is published, it's just not there yet. So I'll try again and see. But all 7 of them aren't even published yet. So there's no chance I'll get to all 7 anytime soon. But anyway, this one goes from day 368, the day after the first book, through the Christmas, through the first year, through almost through her second year, and then, well, her second and third year, excuse me. And then we get to 1144. And this is what it ends with. One should never say that there is nothing to tell, or that no one is laughing. It is 8:45. I'm sitting in my seat by the window in Café Molière, and I have far too much to tell and far too little time, because I have an appointment. I am meeting someone. I got here early and have already ordered coffee. We arranged to meet at the table by the window at 9 o'clock. There is something to tell. It is not about the Romans. Uh, there's a Roman coin that figures prominently in her story. We'll get into that probably in later books because I have a feeling it's going to be a recurring theme. Um, it's not about the Romans, or actually maybe it is, but it is also about a person with a bag. His name is Henry Dale. I didn't know that. There's a lot more I didn't know. That he is trapped in November Day, for example, the 18th, that I am not alone. Well, let's leave there. That's not the exact end, but it's close to the end. She is going to meet somebody who is stuck in November 18th as well. So, is there something special about November 18th? Is there something logic going on? Obviously, in the next book, she is going to share her days with this Henry and maybe other travelers on this same day. We shall see. But for now, that's where this exploration ends. They are short books. They're about 150, 180 pages each. I definitely recommend reading them. They're fun, they're interesting, they're different. They do have a tendency to be a little bit quiet and, by their very nature, just a slight bit repetitive. But that's okay because the entries are short enough and the repetition is germane enough to the plot that you're okay with that. Um, there are some things that I don't think are necessarily imagined as well as they could be. Like, I don't want to imply that this needed to be. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. I wouldn't want to imply this is to be anything like a focal point of the novels, but I found it very interesting that for a young woman who has an active sex life, um, she, one, doesn't seek out sexual partners. She's devoted to her husband, and two, there really is no focus on her monthly cycle and things of that nature. It's never even mentioned. And I would think if we're in a circumstance where we're concerned about things recurring and how time works, that would be something that would matter. It's been my experience that in terms of understanding time and how time works and moving on from things and all those sorts of things, that can be a very important marker for a woman in marking time. So, should not have been the focus, and I'm glad it's not the focus. It's kind of refreshing that there isn't any kind of real heavy sexuality here, but there may have been a need for just a slight bit here to fully ground this. But then again, what's really going on here? What is this novel really about? I don't know. And, maybe as I progress in it, we'll find out more. Okay, well, that's it for today. I'll see you next time.